The New York City Marathon has a new race director, and the Ironman Group is up to their old tricks. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Runway Podcast. I am your host, Kim. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the show. If you are a return listener, welcome back to the show. I truly appreciate you tuning in each and every week. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the podcast. If you subscribe to the show, you'll get a notification each and every time I upload a new episode. You can also go to my website, therunwave.com, and there will be a fly-up box where you can enter in your email address, and you'll get an email as well every time I upload a new episode. So subscribe on your favorite podcast app or subscribe via email on my website, and you'll get all the Runwave news as soon as it drops. We all know February is Black History Month, and I was doing a series called Extraordinary Athletes Doing Extraordinary Things, and I did feature two great athletes, but I really miss just having a one-on-one chat with you, my friends. So this episode, I'm just going to do a little catch up on things that have gone down recently in the running community that I felt that I need to voice my opinion on. So let's get right into it. First up, the New York City Marathon. Now, if you've been listening to this show, if you follow me, you know I am New York City born and bred. Any news on the New York City Marathon, any news coming out of New York road runners, I am on it. It plays an important role in my running career. I don't know if I want to call it career, but it plays an important role in my, recreational running. So New York Road Runners has announced that they have a new race director for the New York City Marathon. And get this, drum roll please. He is a Black man. I'm so excited. His name is Ted, and I don't want to butcher his last name, so I'm going to give it a shot because I haven't heard anyone say it yet. But Ted, I'm going to mess this up. Metellus, I think. Metellus. Metellus. Someone please DM me a voice note on how to pronounce his name so I won't butcher it the next time. But yeah, New York Road Runners named a Black man as the race director for the New York City Marathon. And he is the first Black race director for any world marathon major. And this is epic. I mean, I know we're in this time that we're in this diversity and inclusion. Everyone wants to be, pro-Black and showing that they support the Black community, in particular the Black running community. So I think that this is huge that New York Road Runners has named a Black race director. Now, let me give you a little bit of background on Ted. He was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. Now, y'all know I'm from the Bronx, BX represents. So when I read that he was born and raised in the Bronx, that just got my excitement even higher up, because anytime someone comes out of the Bronx, I just feel a sense of inner pride and joy, because other than Staten Island, no one cares about Staten Island. Staten Island is no one goes to Staten Island. I don't know one person in Staten Island, but other than Staten Island, the Bronx is the forgotten borough. And that's just, I'm going to represent the Bronx till the end of time. So anytime I hear someone doing big things out of the Bronx, it so excites me. So Ted has worked at New York Road Runners since 2001. And in 2019, he became the vice president of events and the technical director of the marathon. So this is a huge promotion for him. Now, don't get it twisted. Ted has plenty of experience to back up this major role that he has gotten. Ted is not new to this. He has been around for a long time, and he's worked for a lot of running organizations, including Pelota Teamworks, Evantage, the Miami Marathon, Philadelphia Triathlon, Lifetime Triathlons, the Rock and Roll Marathon Series, who I'm going to talk about later. But yeah, he's worked for Rock and Roll and Ironman. And he was a 2016 National Center for Spectator Sport Safety and Security Professional of the Year. So the man's resume speaks for itself. He's not new to this. He has been around the block quite a few times. Now, New York Road Runners did release a press release where they did ask him a Q&A. I'm going to link that down below. You can swipe up to read that so you can see what he had to say. But I just want to read one of the quotes that he mentioned, which I thought was great. New York Road Runners asked him, "What does it mean to you to be the first Black race director of an Abbott World Marathon Majors race?" And he said, homeboy quoted Tupac. In the words of the great rapper, poet, actor Tupac, "All eyes on me." That's not what he said, but that's how I read it in my mind. So he said, "All eyes on me. I am in a position to open doors and shine a light for others to follow." I'm excited to see what Ted is going to do with the New York City Marathon. I mean, hopefully, I don't have a lot of hope, y'all, but I hope some major happens at the end of this year. You know, the way things going, it doesn't look likely, but you never know. We're holding out hope. So I'm so excited about this. I'm going to link to the press release so you can read that. And you can follow Ted on IG. His IG is private. I sent him a request today. I'll let y'all know if he accepts it. But his IG is Ted_Deluxe, DELUXE, and he's also on Twitter at Ted Deluxe, all one word. I'll link both of those down below as well. But yeah, kudos to Ted, and I am just so excited about this news. I hope a lot of you are happy. You know, it comes at a time where we're getting in the room. You know, I'm not happy about what it took for us to get here, but we are getting there, and this is a win for us, and hopefully this is just the beginning. You know, hopefully other world majors will step up, and just other races in general. Just, you know, we have to create our own races to have Black race directors, which is just crazy. It's 2021. That is crazy. So hopefully other organizations you know, want to make their staff more diverse, because look, the Black running community, we ain't going nowhere. We're just expanding. We're getting bigger. We're getting better. We're getting more notice. So I just hope that other organizations follow suit and put some people of color where they belong, in, you know, positions of leadership, positions of power, positions where they can make a change in this organization and diversify the face of running. In other New York Road Runner news, there is a virtual 5K for Black History Month that runs from February 19th to February 28th. And you can sign up for the virtual on Strava. And guess what? It's free 99. A lot of the New York Road Runner races that are virtuals are free. New York Road Runners has a lot of virtual races that are free. You sign up on New York Road Runners website, and you have to link your New York Road Runners profile with Strava, and then you just run your race. You mark it as a race, and they do their magic in the, you know, in Al Gore's internets, and your results are somehow added to New York Road Runners website under all of your running stats. So definitely sign up for that. And just a little bit about the race. It says it celebrates the contributions of Black and African American runners through history, including New York Road Runners founding president Ted Corbitt. If you listen to my interview with the president of the board of the RRCA, he was also one of the founding members of that organization as well. Continuing with the virtual New York Road Runners Black History Month 5K, complete your 3.1 mile run in honor of Black figures who have been influential in your own community and around the world. So I will leave a link to that event. If you have Strava, click that link, sign up, and participate in the race. You have a few more days. It's over on the last day of February, the 28th. It is not a leap year, so you have until the 28th to complete your virtual race. So if you do complete it, tag me in your run. Let me know that you heard about it on the Run Wave and you signed up, and, you know, let us know how you did. In other New York City running news, the 6 Mile Loop in Central Park is now called the Ted Corbitt Loop. And, you know, that is amazing news because Ted Corbett, he is like the father of long distance running. Like I said before, he was one of the founders of New York Road Runners, and Ted actually ran the very first New York City marathon, and he had bib number 1. How epic is that?
Wow. This is very exciting. My name is Covan Flowers, captain of Black Men Run New York City. We honor Ted Corbett every year. Once we found out about what Ted Corbett has contributed to the run community, we felt it was only right as African American men, that we should just honor and continue his legacy. We reached out to Gary Corbett, and he gave us his blessings, and we just continue to just keep running in his honor, and just this moment right here is just beautiful, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. I want to thank Commissioner Mitchell Silver for allowing me to be a part of this, and the Central Park Conservancy. So with that said, I'm truly happy and honored to be a part of this moment.
If you live in New York, you may have come across Gary Corbett, who is Ted's son. You know, I'm friends with him on Facebook. I believe I follow him on Instagram as well, but he posts a lot of great historical facts about Ted Corbett, and he just keeps his memory alive and at the forefront of runners like ourselves' minds. So be sure to follow Gary Corbett to just learn interesting facts about Ted Corbett and just to learn the history of the Black running community. So if you've ever run the 6 Mile Loop in Central Park, it's not easy. You know, they have Harlem Hill, Cat Hill, all kinds of hills. But yeah, we run a lot of the New York Road Running races in Central Park, so we're very familiar with that loop. So I'll be excited when I finally get to run in the park again, and I get to take my picture by the sign that says Ted Corbitt Loop. So shout out to Black Men Run New York City. I had no idea that this was happening. There was a whole to-do. It was on the local news here, and Black Men Run New York City were there, and I saw it on their Instagram page. So shout out to them for letting us know what was going on in the running community, and this is just such a plus for the running community and the Black running community at large. You know, I really hate to talk about them again, but the Ironman Group is up to their same old silly tricks. And I call them tricks because they are just doing nothing to propel themselves to the forefront of, you know, running organizations during this pandemic. They are probably the worst running organization during this pandemic. So they sent out an email last week, and most people don't read their emails, right? I barely read emails, but if I see an email from them that is not an email inviting me to sign up for another race that's not happening, then I read the email. So I clicked on this email and read it, and it linked to a video that was by the CEO of the Ironman Group, Andrew Messick. Now, I'm gonna put the video right up on the screen here, so we can go through this video together. Let me cue it up. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Andrew Messick here. It's the middle of February. The Northern Hemisphere season is getting closer, and I want to provide an update on where we stand with regard to being able to operate races around the world.
First of all, he already pissed me off because his doggone camera is shaking. Why is your camera shaking? Little old me who puts on this little old podcast has a stand, and I have my camera mounted on a tripod. My camera doesn't shake, so that's number one. Y'all are so unprofessional. Your camera should not be shaking during this video. Let's continue.
We all want to get back to racing. I want to get back to racing. You want to get back to racing. And the question is when. So let me tell you about how we're thinking about it and what we're trying to accomplish.
how we're thinking about it and what we're trying to accomplish. Andrew, first of all, you should have started this video by apologizing for never getting back to your clients when they email you and being so non-transparent about what's going on with your races. Let's continue.
Ultimately, our ability to host races in the immediate term is going to come down to a series of factors. What's happening with the virus, what's happening with vaccinations, what's happening with travel restrictions, and what is the appetite of our host communities to welcome athletes, volunteers, and staff.
Your host communities, what about the appetites of runners that have signed up for your races that you have canceled permanently and you have not issued any refunds for those permanently canceled races? What about the appetites of them?
To be able to conduct a race. We're guests, in our host communities, and ultimately the combination of virus, vaccination, travel restrictions, and appetite for our host communities to be prepared to have mass gatherings for sports is going to determine our ability to have races. And those factors differ in virtually every country, every state, every territory around the world.
Okay, we know that. We're in the midst of a global pandemic. We already know this. You're not telling us anything that we don't already know. But you surely aren't telling us why you're sending out emails for individuals to register for races that aren't happening. Tell me that.
And our operating teams right now are working with our host communities to determine what's possible. We want to host races. That's our goal. We are in the business.
And we want to run races, but I know I'm not signing up for another race with your organization, Rock and Roll or Ironman. And let me tell you why. They have canceled races. I know it's a pandemic. Everyone has canceled races. A lot of organizations have either flipped those to virtuals and sent people their medals and t-shirts or postpone the races, but they've given us the option. Run a virtual, get a refund, defer your race. Rock and Roll gave us no options. Rock and Roll said, we're going to postpone you to next year. We're keeping your money. If we cancel your race permanently, we're keeping your money. Or you can pick another city. That was the other option that they gave us. Moving on.
Of hosting races, and we hear from athletes all around the world how badly they want to race. So
of course we want to race. Everyone wants to race, but it's a pandemic. Nobody's racing right now.
Focus is on making the races happen. Now, we can't always do that. And we've already seen Oceanside has moved to October. We've moved the APSA Cape Epic and the Ironman African Championships. We think that many of the races early season in Europe are going to be moved to later in the year. We think that many of our larger running events in North America are going to be moved to later in the year. But we make those decisions only when we feel like we have exhausted every opportunity to be able to safely make those races happen. And
okay, I'm done with them. I will put a link to this video down below. Now, here's the thing. They are such cowards because the video was unlisted. So unless someone who received that email sent you that link, you can't find this video. So I am going to put a link to this video down below so you can watch the entire video. Not once a day they apologize. Not once did they offer refunds for canceled races. And if you are a triathlete, do you know how much an Ironman race is? An Ironman race is $700+. A Ironman 70.3, a half Ironman is $350+. The half marathons that I signed up for, they're like $90+ when you sign up early. The 5Ks are like $35+, depending on when you sign up. So there is a lot of money that Ironman has kept for canceled events, and that is why I'm pissed. I'm not pissed because the races are canceled. All races were canceled. I'm pissed because we are not given the option of what we want to do. Ironman has just decided to keep people's money, to cancel the races, and they're moving along with life. I just get so heated with these race organizations. Like, I have no problem with virtual races. If you converted your races to virtuals, fine. If you've given people the option to do those virtuals. Now, I've only signed up for Rock and Roll Seattle, and they canceled my 5K permanently, and they rescheduled the half marathon for June of 2021, and that has now been postponed to, and they don't even have a date. That they postponed it again for the second time, and you don't even have a date, so you don't even know if you're postponed at this point. So yeah, I'm fed up with Rock and Roll. I'm on a mission. I'm going to tweet them and email them until they block me, because what they're doing is wrong. They are owned by a huge corporation, and you doing this to people is just wrong. And we as a community, as a running community, as a triathlete community, we need to stop supporting them, because they are full of shit. And I hate to curse on the roadway, but that's what they are. And you know what? The CEO was sitting here. I'm sure he's collecting his pay. I should look into that and see how much he's getting paid. You know, he's sitting there collecting his pay. He's making these terrible videos, and they're going on with life like nothing is going on. And I'm pissed about it, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all of these race directors pushing these races, knowing that they're going to go virtual. You're getting people's hopes high, and you know that these races are not happening. I mean, there's small races in Florida, in the South, that are happening because those states are wide open. But mostly all the other states, there are no races happening. And it's just wrong what they're doing. And I'm sick and tired of it. So, yeah, Ironman, that's all I have to say about that. All right, so that was a handful, and I want to thank y'all for tuning in to the Runway podcast. Sometimes your girl just gotta vent, because you know, I love running. I love recreational running. I'm passionate about it. I love traveling to races, and I haven't been able to do that in a long time, and I understand why. And I understand that everyone is suffering, but companies like the Ironman Group, they're out for themselves. They're out for profit. They don't care about the people that have supported them all these years. So people like that can shove it. I'm not supporting them anymore. But thank you again for tuning in to this episode of the show. Be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Later. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Be sure to subscribe to The Runway on your favorite podcast app, and leave us a review of the show on Apple Podcasts. It would really help me out. If you are a runner that has a story to tell and you would like to be on the show, you can email hello@therunwave.com or send us a DM on Instagram to The Runwave. See you next time.